Who do you think wins in a fight, you or Prime Floyd?
Me.
No questions?
Why would you think that I would say Floyd? You know, that's one of my favorite fighters. But yeah.
It's wild, because like if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time.
Oh, yes.
That makes a difference to people.
Terence Crawford has finally broken his silence after Floyd Mayweather's bold post-Canelo Alvarez challenge, and his response landed with the precision fans expect from his punches. For weeks, speculation swirled in boxing circles. Would Crawford take the bait, or let Mayweather's words fade into the noise? True to form, Bud didn't hold back. He addressed Floyd's remarks head-on, making it clear that his focus isn't just on the hype, but on cementing a legacy that speaks louder than any back-and-forth. Crawford's move doesn't just fuel an already heated conversation in the sport, it raises the stakes for what could evolve into one of the most talked-about potential showdowns in modern boxing. His response has fans, analysts, and even rivals weighing in, each wondering if this is the spark that could push an almost mythical matchup closer to reality.
Yo, yeah, so if he was pound for pound, Floyd was pound for pound. You or Floyd, who would have done that? Who would have won that?
Me.
Oh, shit, okay, I'm just asking.
Man.
Floyd was pound for pound before.
That would have been a hard fucking fight, though.
Man, me versus anybody. I'm gonna always say me.
Okay.
Come on now.
We've had a lot of comparisons between Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. We've even had the conversation to go as far as who would win in a fight between Terence and Floyd. And I truly don't know the answer to that question.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. Who would win that fight?
Floyd.
Floyd would win that
Yes,
fight.
sir. I love you, Terrence.
Always figures it out.
Yeah,
Yes. He's a chess master.
Yeah, his IQ in
But
that
the
shit
funny
is
thing
crazy.
about it is Terrence has been the only other guy that people can say he always figures it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true.
But you gotta have an OG somewhere.
Anybody
though.
else? Yeah.
There's an OG
Somebody got
somewhere
a pioneer,
that you
right?
can't outfigure
Yeah,
out.
you got it.
There's an OG you can't outfigure out
yeah,
somewhere. And I
yeah.
just believe Floyd is that
is
OG
one.
you can't outfigure out.
Stephen A. Smith didn't hold back in his praise of Terence Crawford's decisive victory over Canelo Alvarez, calling him the best fighter in boxing right now. To Smith, what Crawford achieved wasn't just impressive, it was historic. Moving up in weight, toppling a unified champion who held all 4 belts in the super middleweight division, and doing it with absolute control spoke volumes about his skill and mindset. Smith emphasized that Crawford's greatness comes not only from his technical brilliance inside the ring, but also from his mental toughness and remarkable consistency over the years. In his view, Crawford's ability to dismantle elite opponents, remain undefeated, and now unify championships across multiple divisions firmly cements him at the very top of boxing's current hierarchy. It's not simply about winning fights anymore. Crawford is redefining what dominance in this era looks like.
Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance. He had poise in the ring, he wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept us different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, brilliant, masterful fight on Terence Crawford's part, and it was definitely a legacy fight, something he had told me. He had been telling me for the last 2 years. He had one time I was at a UFC event, Molly and Cam, at the Sphere.
Shane Mosley weighed in with a bold take, arguing that Terence Crawford actually holds the edge over Floyd Mayweather in several key areas, especially when it comes to size and physical tools. According to Mosley, Crawford's natural advantages, from his reach to his punching power, give him weapons Mayweather rarely possessed during his years in the welterweight division. That said, Mosley didn't dismiss Floyd's legacy. He credited Mayweather's unmatched technical accuracy, defensive mastery, and fight IQ as traits that made him nearly untouchable, even when he was giving up physical advantages against bigger opponents. Crawford, Mosley explained, doesn't have to rely on evasive tactics to level the playing field. His natural build allows him to impose his will more directly. In Mosley's view, Crawford represents a fusion of physical dominance and elite skill, while Mayweather carved his reputation through flawless execution and tactical brilliance. It's a comparison that underscores not just two fighters' strengths, but two very different paths to greatness.
Who do you think's better out of those two, Crawford or Mayweather?
I think Crawford is better, bigger. He's actually he moved in weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better fight all around fighter. Mayweather's really good too, though. You can knock him as well. He's very talented. It would have been a tough fight, but I think Crawford would have had the edge over Mayweather because of the long arms and because it's bigger. You know what I'm saying? And he would have kept him at bay. It would have been hard for Mayweather to counter, maybe. But Mayweather's definitely a technician. I mean, like Crawford said, Mayweather has his era, and Crawford, this is his era.
In an appearance on Ariel Helwani's show, Terence Crawford tackled the constant comparisons to Floyd Mayweather, pointing to Canelo Alvarez as the one man with first-hand experience against both. But Crawford was quick to emphasize that those fights happened under completely different circumstances. Mayweather faced a young, relatively untested Canelo still finding his footing in the sport, while Crawford stepped into the ring with a fully developed version of Alvarez, a unified super middleweight champion at 168 pounds, hardened by years of experience at the very top level. According to Crawford, that distinction matters. And Canelo himself has admitted that the power he felt from Crawford was on another level compared to what Mayweather delivered years earlier. It's a revealing contrast that, in Crawford's eyes, separates eras and underscores why these comparisons need context.
This was a 168-pounder fighting a 147-pounder. He had one fight at 154 last August, was the undisputed king at 147, beating Errol Spence in July of 2023, came back the following year, fought Israel Madrimov at the soccer stadium in Los Angeles, and then did everything he could to get this fight, played his cards the right way, and there he was, standing face to face against Canelo Alvarez, who did seem for the longest time like he didn't want to take this fight, and because there was great risk involved, because not only is Terence Crawford one of the all-time best fighters in the history of the sport, he's smaller than him, so a lot of people would be like, oh, of course you're going to beat the smaller guy, right? But I think Canelo recognized, yeah, he might be smaller, but he's that damn good. Like I said, switch hitter, boxing IQ, higher than most, if not anyone in the game.
While speaking with Ariel Helwani, Terence Crawford addressed the constant comparisons between himself and Floyd Mayweather, pointing out that Canelo Alvarez's perspective carries unique weight since he has faced both men. But Crawford reminded listeners that the circumstances of those matchups couldn't have been more different. Mayweather fought a young, inexperienced version of Canelo who was still learning on the biggest stage. Years later, Crawford stepped into the ring with a fully matured Alvarez, competing at 168 pounds against a seasoned champion who held every major belt in the super middleweight division. That difference, Crawford argued, changes the conversation entirely. Even Canelo has admitted that the physical power he felt from Crawford was more punishing than what he experienced against Mayweather. It's a striking admission that not only reinforces Crawford's point, but also reshapes how fans weigh the legacies of two all-time greats.
You thought about going for 51-0, beat Mayweather's record with 50-0. Is that something that you thought about?
I already said I was never gonna beat Mayweather record. That's not something that I wanted to do.
Okay.
To be honest, I was gonna retire if I didn't get this Errol Spence fight.